Hey, what's up, fellow modelers? Will here, walking a mile from the Ensign's chair. So, if you've been watching my 1/1400 scale Enterprise C build, you know that I've done a couple different sets of masks to help in painting some of the details on there, mainly for the windows, and then I did another mask set for the deflector dish to help paint the lines on that. So, at any rate, someone had asked if I would just do a video showing how to make masks with the Cricut. So I'm going to attempt to do that, but full disclosure, I do not know a lot about this machine yet. I've had it 2 months. I really haven't had a lot of time to sit down and play with it and figure a lot of things out. So what I know so far is basically from watching a couple of videos on the internet and kind of playing around with it and you know, kind of making some mistakes with it myself and just kind of learning from my mistakes. So I have made some masks successfully with it. It's not hard to do. So what I am going to do is I'm going to talk about what I've learned so far, show you how I've done the masks that I've made already, and just give you a general idea of what you can do with this machine as far as making masks for your models. So at any rate, give me a minute. I'll put you on the bench. We'll get to work. All right, guys. So this is my Cricut Explorer Air 2. Now, there's a couple different versions of these Cricut machines. Typically, the ones that you're going to look at for doing this is either the Cricut Explorer Air, which is what I've got here, and I think 2 is the most recent version of that. And then they've got the Cricut Maker 3, I believe, is the most recent version of that. Now, this one here, the Cricut Explorer Air 2, sells for about $179. I was able to get mine for, I think it was about $120, $130, $130 from Walmart. They had one discounted. So I got a pretty good deal on it and picked it up. You can find these for under $100 used if you look around on some of your local list there, or like Craigslist or that, where they sell you know, used things. So you can find these for a decent price. If you're not going to be making a lot of masks, probably not worth the investment for you, but I plan on making a lot of masks, and so far it's come in pretty damn handy as far as being able to do some custom stuff. So at any rate, this one is the cheaper of the two options that you're going to be looking at. The Cricut Maker 3 I think runs for over $300, so that's definitely up there a bit just for doing the couple masks or anything like that. So at any rate, this is the one I use. So when you get it, it's real simple. You got your power supply plugs in, and then you've got your USB plug that plugs into your computer. So once you get that all set up, and I'll open this up, you just push the open button, and that's going to open up. And then you turn on your power, which is right here, and you'll hear this thing kind of start up. It'll get in position. A little loud, but so anyway, once you do that, it's all set up, ready to go. You just have to open the application on your computer and set up your masks, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. But one thing I do want to talk about real quick, though, is make sure they do sell a lot of different types of vinyl for these. They sell some, you know, some custom stuff, glittery stuff, and I use either typically the black or the yellow, depending on what I'm going to use the mask for. And you want to make sure, though, that when you get masking, that you get it'll say removable on it, because they do have permanent vinyl, which if you stick it on a ship, especially if you stick it on a painted model, it's probably going to peel the paint off, if you can get it off at all. So make sure you get the removable, and this is a removable matte. It doesn't really matter the finish, but like I said, I typically use yellow or black. So make sure it's the removable, not the permanent, and make sure it is vinyl. Now you can use the non-Cricut brand vinyl with this machine. It does not have to be the stuff from Cricut, but to me, it's not that big of a price difference, and so I just get typically just go ahead and get the Cricut stuff. But at any rate, that's my recommendation for that. So you get your vinyl, and when you look at this machine, one thing you'll notice, I get this vinyl will stay in place. One thing you'll notice is that you've got a dial over here. Now you can turn this dial for different materials. They've got paper, vinyl, iron-on, light cardstock, bonnet fabric, poster board, and then they've got a custom setting. Now, a custom setting just means it's going to default to whatever you're setting in the software is. But since I only use it for vinyl cutting, I leave it set to the vinyl setting. So it's on there. The way you see this is the way it comes when you buy it. If you buy it new, it's got two little holders here. This one here, you can put, it comes with a marker that you can put in here. It's a permanent marker, and you can have it draw and write things and different designs on the vinyl, paper, cardstock, whatever you're using. And this one here is the cutter. So it's already in place. Like I said, you don't have to really do a whole lot of setup to this. It's kind of ready to go once you get it. So the other thing it comes with, and I actually bought an extra one of these because I didn't know this came with this, but the Cricut Explorer Air 2 uses this mat, and I think a couple of the other ones do too. But this mat is basically laid out. You've got these 1-inch blocks, and when you look in the application, we're going to look at it here in a minute, you're going to see that that application pretty much corresponds to the 1-inch markings on this mat here. And basically this mat has, it's a bit of an adhesive to it. It's a little sticky, not a lot. This one here is a light grip. I also have a medium grip, and then they make I think it's a heavy grip or something like that, but I don't think you're going to need it. The light grip has been just fine for using with the mask cutting. I haven't had any problems with anything slipping out of place or that. So this one comes with the machine. That's really all you need. So at any rate, you get the mat, you put it in place, and we'll talk about here in a minute. We'll look at the software, and I'll show you how to get this loaded up and everything put into place, ready to go. So give me a minute. I'll get that set up, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, so here we are on the desktop. You can see basically you got this Cricut design space shortcut you're going to click. Now this is web-based, so you're going to need internet access to use it. But anyway, what you're looking for is I got all these different designs, and you can subscribe to their service and get all this additional stuff. You don't need it if you're just going to be doing window masks. But basically you can see some of the projects that I've done on here. I did some windows for the NX that I was working on for Brian, and I've got a couple of different window sets for the Enterprise C based on, you know, the windows were a little different sizes and different sections, so I've done some different ones here. But basically what you're going to do is start a new project, and that's going to open up your design space here. Remember I was talking about you've got those marks 1, 2, 3, 4. Those correlate to that sheet that you can see over here on the printer. Hopefully my picture-in-picture is working. But so basically when you first start off with this, you can click on shapes, and you're going to see all these free shapes, and then you're going to see all these ones if you subscribe that you get access to. Now you've got enough basic shapes here that you can do what you need to do. So basically, you know, the windows on pretty much the next generation ships are kind of a elongated oval. So you don't want to just use, they got an oval here, but you don't want to just use that one because it's not gonna look right. You need to be a little bit elongated. Now there's a couple different ways you can do that with this. You can see you've got a square, and then you've got a circle. But you've also got this piece here that kind of looks like the bottom half of a window. So what you can do with that is you can merge these shapes. Let me click on this one, and it's going to populate the screen. And then basically what we can do is we can take this and we can duplicate it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rotate this all the way around and combine this on top here and make sure it's lined up properly as best as I can get it. And sometimes it can be a little bit of a pain to get these. All right, so once you've got the shape that you want, basically what you'll do is come over here. I'm gonna hold Control and I'm gonna click both of these, and you can weld these parts together. So I'm gonna click Weld, and you can see here basically you've got just the one shape, and it's one piece now. You can move this around, Oops, I closed it. Oh, let's go back. Where's that? Go back. There we go. Okay. So you can resize it. You can drag this and make it as big or as small as you need it. Now, one thing I found that was easier to get this, the size, the height and width that I want, if you hit this little lock button down here and unlock it, you can then go up here to your sizes, your width and your height, and change the sizes that way. Because if you leave this locked, it's basically going to keep it locked to the ratio that it's at. And what you'll find is that you may need it to be a little wider or a little taller than what it is right now. So if you hit this unlock button, you can go up here and you can independently change your width and your height and play around with it. And basically what I do is I'll go in, I'll make it. Now remember, these numbers correlate to how big or each block on your sheet here, your mat. So right now I've got this cut to 3 and about 3.5 wide by 3 tall. So we definitely need this to fit within that area. But basically, if you want to fit this to a model window, you can kind of look at that mat and get an idea of, well, I need it to be really small. So for example, I don't remember exactly what the sizes were off the top of my head, but it was like a 0.0 something by 0.0 something tall and wide. I can take a look back at it in a minute and show you what the width and height were on the ones that I used for the C. But basically you can change these independently with that lock icon off. So I usually turn that lock icon off and do my sizing that way. And then but it's so small working with those windows, it's easier to go up here and kind of change your width and your height by just typing it in versus trying to drag this and keep the dimensions in perspective. So at any rate, that's pretty much how I've done my window masks on here. And once you get the size the way you want it, I'm just going to make this kind of big just to use that space. But once you get it the way you want it, and I believe once you've made this shape, it should appear in your shapes to be able to be reused. If you go into if you open up that project, this shape should already be in there, so you can just reuse it at that point. But like I said, you go into shapes and just combine shapes by welding them. And if you want to, let's say if you want to add a label to this, you can add text, and we'll just call this oval window. Because let's say if you do this and you want to have a tag on that, to show you or remind you where those windows are being used for. For example, mine, I have different tags on it for the different projects, for the top saucer, the secondary hull, things like that. So I know when I look at this, when I print it out and I'm pulling it off a sheet, I know what these windows are for. But if you do that, what you need to do in order to get this to print along with that shape is come back here again, highlight these, and click this attach button. And what that's going to do is that's going to print this exactly as it shows on your display here. All right, so once you do that, you can come up here. If everything's the way you want it, you can still move this around as a whole. If you decide you want to move something independently, you just come back and click the detach button, and that'll allow you to adjust it, and then you can reattach everything again. Hopefully I'm not confusing anybody with this, but it really did take me it's just some trial and error to figure everything out on here. So anyway, once you get the shapes the way you want, let me show you one other thing real quick. Let's go detach this. So right now, if I were to print this, it's only going to print the shape. It's not going to print the shape. It's going to print these on 2 separate sheets because they're not attached to each other. So just keep that in mind. But let's say I want more than one of these. So all I need to do is highlight that, and we can click this duplicate button. And you see it's going to duplicate it every time I click it. Now I can click duplicate all day long, and it's going to recreate these. And as long as I don't attach anything to it, I can just go over here, hit the make it, and print this, and it's going to put these in an order for me. But if I want this wording, my text here to appear with it, we're going to have to take these, and you can also drag and drop and highlight everything that you want and click attach. And now everything will print. This will print exactly as it's showing on screen. So that's just one thing you do. Once you get that shape, you don't have to keep recreating. You can just select it, hit duplicate, and create as many window masks as you need. But once you, if you go to attach something, you've got to put them in order yourself, because what will happen is, if you go to what I've had happen is, when you go to print this, if you've just hit duplicate and it's made a line of windows down this way, if you don't attach and put it in the order you want, it's going to, or I'm sorry, if you attach this title to it, it's going to print it all messed up. So it's best to put it in your own order and have it print the way you want it. So anyway, once you get this set up the way you want and it fits within the dimensions you need it to, you can click this Make It button. And actually, you know what? I'm realizing that I need to unplug my mouse so that I can actually plug my Cricut in, because I only have 3 USB ports. So let me plug this Cricut in, and let's turn it on. And it can be a little noisy when it first starts up. All right, so now you can see it's recognized my machine. Got it. And we'll click continue. And it's going to say please connect your Explorer. Give it a second. It'll read and discover your Explorer and figure out what type of machine, Cricut machine you've got. It's going to set base material, which I've already set on the dial as vinyl, so it's going to read that. You can see there, it read it as vinyl. And now it's telling you to load the material. So basically this button's going to start flashing, and I'm going to push this mat up to the roller and hit that load button. And it's going to load it right up. And now you see that this is switched to a go. So I can go down here. Oh, I don't need to do anything else on the screen. My apologies. Once this C button, the Cricut button, starts flashing, all you do, it means it's already loaded this design into your Cricut. So all you do is push this Cricut button, and it's going to start cutting. And it's not going to take long. It cuts pretty quick. Now, I will tell you while this is cutting that there are limitations to how small of a cut you can make. I would say that the 1400 size windows that I'm doing for the Enterprise C probably pushing the limits of how small of a cut this machine can make. Some of the cuts don't come out perfect. That's why when I do it, I've got a couple, probably about 100 windows on that sheet. Maybe not that many, maybe 50 windows on that sheet that cut out. Because some of them may not be usable because it doesn't do a perfect job every time of cutting it. So at any rate, you see it says that it's done there. Now we'll hit this to unload it. And that'll close up. And I don't know if I can show this in the camera, but we'll take a look at this in a second. But I don't know if you can see it on the camera. I know I've got it in kind of the picture-in-picture right now, so give me a minute. We'll go back to the main camera and we'll take a look at it. But once you're done there, you can click done. And if you want to save your project, you can just exit out of it, and it's going to prompt you to save it, or it will save it for you once you close out. So if I go back in here, don't quote me on that. If I go back in here, let's see if that project is still in there. And the reason why I started this up the first time before I came on was because it had an update. So it took a minute for this to load up. But you see it takes a minute to load up. And let's see if it saved that project. I'm not too worried about saving it, but you may have to save it individually. Yep, no, it didn't save it. So make sure you go in and save your project before you exit out. But again, I wasn't worried about saving. That was just a demonstration. Let's take a look at what size these windows were for the secondary hull. Click customize, and it's going to bring these up. It's a pretty big project, so it takes a minute. There's a lot of masks on this sheet. There we go. Now you see in this one, all I did was keep hitting the duplicate button, and it's duplicated them in lines. But when I print it, it'll print out in whatever size sheet that I dictate for it to print out to fit this into. So, but let's see what size one of these is. If I can get it to respond. There we go. So for the secondary hull, the size I've got for these windows is a 0.033 wide by a 0.09 high. And that's just for the secondary hull windows. So that's what size I used for that. But at any rate, that's all I want to show on that. Give me a minute. I'm going to flip the camera back around and we'll take a look at what this cut looks like. Let's quit out of this and give me a minute. All right, guys, so here we are back in the camera. You can see the cuts that were made on this. So you see all those sizes there, and we can pull one of these out. And you'll see it makes a nice perfect cut. Now, like I said, the smaller you go, the harder time this machine is going to have, and there's going to be a limit that's going to be reached at some point. I think 12500s are out of the question as far as window masks. So definitely wouldn't try that. But 1400, I think, like I said, is probably pushing the limits of how small you can make these. But all right, guys, that's pretty much it. I just want to do a short video and go over this because, like I said, I was asked if I would just talk about how I use this Cricut to do window mask. And certainly there's a lot of other things you can make with this. You can make your own painting masks. Which is something I may do in the future for certain things. If I want to do a custom design or that, I can do a painting mask. I mean, I kind of already did that with the deflector dish because I just wanted to make it easier to paint. So I did a paint mask set for that. And again, in the future, I'm looking forward to getting more use out of this because there's just so much you can do with it. Being able to make masks and do your own designs, it just makes painting something so much simpler because you can get such a clean paint job out of it. As you've seen on my Enterprise C, those masks I use from Aztec Dummy and the inclusion of the window masks that I made, I think really helped make that model look good. So at any rate, that's pretty much it, guys. If you've got any other questions about this, there's a lot of stuff that I don't know about this, like I said. There's a lot of things you can do. You can make a template, and there's a way apparently to scan it in and import it into the Cricut and have it cut your template or cut a mask that way. I haven't gotten into any of that yet, so that's something I've still got to experiment with. But anyway, like I said, it's really promising. I like using these. If you can get one for a good price, it's definitely worth it if you're going to be doing a lot of your own masks. So anyway, guys, again, I appreciate everybody for watching this. Thank you to everybody that's been subscribing. Hopefully this was just a little bit of additional information to put out there for any of you guys that were maybe wondering about this after I brought it up, or maybe you've seen it before. There are a lot of other videos out there. There are some on YouTube that talk specifically about making masks using the Cricut. So definitely go out and look at that, learn. If you get one of these, I don't think you'll be disappointed in what you can do with it. So again, guys, thank you to everybody that's been watching this video. Thank you everybody for your feedback. And again, thank you to all the subscribers. Please hit that subscribe button down below and keep tuning in for other videos like this that I'm going to put out. So again, guys, I appreciate you for watching. Until next time, keep modeling.